Good Sunday afternoon. We made it to the afternoon. He's Corey Clark. I'm Aslan Hajavandi. We work for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. Won't you hit that thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and download our app. You can get it on the iPhone, you can get it on your Android. It follows you wherever you want to go, just like we do with this program. And they're back at practicing here. They're back practicing in the morning as they start week 2, Corey. Nice and early in the morning, so we get this out of the way. This is also part of your Wake Up Warchant podcast. We'll have a Michael Langston recruiting wrap-up for the podcast, but it'll be separate on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to see all of it as it happens here on our YouTube channel. So let's get to it then. Practice-wise, we have to be a little bit more cautious and careful in the language that we're using to describe what we're seeing out there, Corey. But what kind of stood out from you watching practice here on Sunday?
I think, stop me if you've heard this before, Aslan, but I feel like the defense kind of ruled the day a little bit. Again, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing this early in camp. You start to look at this defense and some of the pieces in the secondary. I thought you start to think, okay, man, they could actually be like pretty good, like not just average, not just better, but actually a pretty good defense. I know Bethune had Bethune had a good day. I thought Tatum Bethune had a good day. He was all over the field when he was out there.
He's going to make a difference. I'll admit it finally.
Absolutely, he's going to make a difference. Amarian Cooper, he does not give up plays. We'll see how it translates in September, but they just don't complete passes on him, ever, it seems like. He had a really good battle with Malik McClain today and won almost all of them. And then Azareye'h Thomas is a guy who had an interception of one-on-ones. He basically ran the route for the receiver and caught a 50-yard interception. He had a forced fumble in 7-on-7, which I'll give him the forced fumble, but I feel like they were just starting to blow the whistle because the running back had been touched, but he comes up from behind, yanks the ball out, and then he had a pick 6 in 11-on-11. Like, that kid just makes plays. That kid is going to play a lot. If you had to ask me what freshman is going to start at some point this season, it is that kid. He is just a different kind of guy than they've had around here, I think, in a minute. I mean, when you think about if he's as good as we think he can be, if he gets as good as we think he can be, along with Cooper on the other side, all right, now you're doing some things, Aslan. Now you're doing some things. So I was really, really impressed with the defense. I just thought the defense was really good from the start of practice to the end. I think the receivers had a couple pretty good days, at least by their standards, the last two. I think the DBs responded really, really well on Sunday.
I did see Kentron catch one on Azareye'h. Not to say that no one's going to be able to, he's not going to surrender anything, but, Kentron had a nice catch on him. What kind of stood out to me, I like you talking about the secondary, is that I got down for maybe the last 2 periods of 11-on-11 because I had the practice footage going up, which, again, check it out on our YouTube page.
Is it raw footage or is it condensed?
Yeah, a little condensed.
I like it raw. Anyway,
most of us do.
Go ahead.
But the fact of the matter was, I saw some personnel groupings, and again, we can't go too, detailed into it of who was out there, who was not out there. But man, even when the back end might not be to what we think is going to be first team, like that defense still held pretty strong in 11-on-11, which I guess, what does that mean for us then? I mean, just they're going to have a strong pass rush and they'll be able to keep the run contained, and this might be, again, a good defense.
We'll see what the pass rush is. I did think Verse had a good day today. Jared Verse, the transfer from Albany, who was their biggest name transfer of the whole portal season.
Most desired for sure. I mean, everybody offered that guy.
But I was going to say, another guy, so we'll see about the pass rush. Another guy to me that's really stood out, I missed the last 2 practices, but I was here for the first 2 and then this one. Jarian Jones, man. That guy, he's a guy that you almost forget. I had kind of almost forgotten about. Like, he's been here for a couple years, hasn't done a ton. He made an interception against Carolina, a big one in that game, but hadn't accomplished a ton in his 2 years here. And you're like, okay, you got all these other names, and Noles and Cooper did so well last year. Jarian Jones is playing himself into the rotation in a big way. Like, he's making a lot of plays. He had one that should have been interception, another pass breakup on Micah Pittman. Made a really nice play, doing really well in special teams. I mean, they celebrate that dude every other play in special teams. Like, Jarian Jones is going to make a difference, and you feel like, man, think about where Florida State is as a defense as a whole, where a guy like Jarian Jones, who started multiple games here and multiple games in his career and is a pretty decent cornerback, was almost an afterthought. Like, that's where they are. And then a guy like Azareye'h Thomas isn't guaranteed to start because he's fighting with other guys. Like, to me, that says a lot, man. That says a lot about where they are just depth-wise and roster-wise, where they haven't been here in recent years.
Offensively, again, I only saw 2 periods. I'll lean on you as we do most of the times on these programming things that we do together. CJ Campbell, I saw ripped off a couple good runs. So good to see a guy, kind of enhancing that running back room. Obviously, I think a walk-on. I don't know if he's progressed up into a scholarship, but from Panama City Beach, so a shout out to him.
If he's not a walk-on now, he's a former walk-on, much like Trayshawn Ward. Yeah.
Offensively, anything kind of make you feel good, warm and fuzzy?
I'll say this: the first and second units, if we want to call them that, didn't do a ton at all. Didn't do much at all in the passing game. Didn't complete a lot of big ones. Brian Courtney had a nice catch from A.J. Duffy. Really good adjustment. I think Brian Courtney's a freshman tight end. He's by far the most natural, but he's the most natural pass catcher of the guys that were participating today, and it's not really close. He's just got to get bigger and stronger. I don't think he's physical enough yet to play at this level, but he's got a lot of tools to work with. But they didn't hit a lot of big pass plays, but they did run the ball pretty well. Even against the first team defense, they weren't terrible. They weren't getting blown up every time. Their best runs, Benson had about a 15-yard run around left end that might have gone to the house. They're in shoulder pads, but they're not tackling. So it's one of these and they blow the whistle. I don't know if that brings Trey Benson down when he's running full speed. But the pass protection too. There are times where Jordan Travis has time to look at second, third, fourth reads, which obviously was not the case at all last year and the year before. And this is a pretty good defensive line he's going up against. It's not Jermaine Johnson, but it's pretty darn good. And they have some time. I think the offensive line, when you look at the offensive line, I start to get a little, you start to feel pretty good about the offensive line. What they're running out there, the first team and the second team, the guys that are working with Jordan Travis, I should say, and then the guys that are working with Tate Rodemaker, you see some potential there. It's like, okay, there really is depth. And on that point, for the first time since Norvell's been here, I'm pretty sure, they practiced like Jimbo used to practice, using both fields, meaning the first team and it was really the first team and the second team were on one field. The third team was on another field. They're getting constant reps. They're being filmed, they're being coached. But obviously Norvell can't be at both fields, and Atkins can't be at both fields, and neither can Fuller. But they can go back and watch the tape. But I think they finally have the numbers now. And Ira asked about it after practice. You can watch that video too, the Mike Norvell post-practice interview. He asked them about just having enough numbers to do that now, because that's such a big deal, man. Just getting these guys reps and getting rid of the standing around. So these guys all need reps.
I want to tip my cap real quick to A.J.
Am I sweating
Duffy.
at all?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Shout out to this guy. I mean, we got to get some cover. It's a scorch right here. But I did want to say A.J. Duffy, I thought, bounced back and had a pretty solid day. On Friday, not so much, but on Sunday morning here, saw him get the ball out really quickly, see things. Again, they weren't taking a lot of shots downfield, but he was seeing things, getting the ball out quickly, and got some praise from Mike Norvell. So he's out here. Tate Rodemaker's out here. Gino English, the McNamara kid.
The whole gang.
D-Mac, I think Dylan's his first name. Yeah, everyone's out here. So are we. Tom was out here. Ira's out here. Observations coming up, I'm sure. And again, be on the lookout for Michael Langston wrapping up the recruiting weekend that was. They still got guys on campus here from that Saturday showcase. So we'll have all that covered over at Warchant.com.
I wanted to point out 2 other guys. I thought DJ Lundy made some really nice plays. And I want to give all the flowers to the defense today because they deserve it. And that's what kids say today, right? Give the flowers, right? That doesn't look weird at all, an old man saying give flowers, right? That's normal. It felt natural coming out of my mouth. DJ Lundy made a couple in 2 back-to-back plays in pass coverage. Ooh. He broke up 2 passes and then tackled the running back immediately after a 1 or 2 yard gain. He was right on his hip and made the 2-hand touch. Again, when you're talking about DJ Lundy and what he can be, you thought, okay, he's a physical guy that can be a run stopper, but in coverage he's going to get exploited. Now that might still be the case, who knows? But he looks a lot different and he moves a lot different now, and that was good to see. He had a legitimate pass breakup on a 4-yard route, and then a 1-yard gain because DJ Lundy can run with these guys now, or can stay with them quickness-wise and speed-wise, is staying with them better. And then also Patrick Payton. Fuller we talked to before practice started about him, and it certainly seemed like Patrick Payton will be a part of the rotation, or he envisions him being a part of the rotation. Nothing I saw today puts me off that. I think that guy has, he's got some tools too. He's got to get a little bigger, but he's got a bull rush even for that size. He's not, he's not the biggest dude in the world, but he's fast, he's quick. Quick twitch, fast twitch, I like to say. That guy might be something for them, and he might be something for them this year, which is good to see because they need depth. You always need depth at every position, defensive end in particular. And one more thing, they keep talking, and I'm not saying he did anything outstanding today that I saw or anything noticeable, but they love Dennis Briggs.
Yes.
They think Dennis Briggs is. I've heard the word special about Dennis Briggs 5 times already. We're not even in August. So the fact that they keep talking about him like this makes me think that they must think he is. He could be Keir Thomas, at least. At the very least, he could be Keir Thomas because of the body type and what he can do and the versatility he can bring. Maybe even play inside on a pass rush down. Again, when you look at this defense and the depth it has, if it can stay healthy or healthy-ish, man, they might be pretty darn good. Might be pretty darn good, everyone. How about that?
Yeah, I feel pretty good for being up at 7 in the morning on a Sunday now, man. Thanks, Corey. Appreciate that.
I did it.
Again, stay connected. We got Jared Verse interview, a Marion Cooper interview, Mike Norvell post-practice. We've got practice footage up, observations going up at warchant.com. I think we deserve the thumbs up. And stay connected to our YouTube channel. Sunday Smash dropping at midnight.
It's a midnight madness tonight.
Yeah,
midnight madness.
Because it's technically, that would be Monday because it's midnight. But yeah, if you're going to be wanting to hang out with Tom and I at 7 p.m., just have some DeLuna coffee, sip a little bit longer. We'll be doing Midnight Madness on our YouTube
and you'll see
channel.
why. It's a big blowout, and we're all going to be a part of it. The whole Warchant family is going to be a part of it.
Couple arm around you?
No.
Okay, but we'll all be part of it. We'll all be part of it. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for watching. Stay connected to warchant.com.